People say the A405 countryside road is haunted, but they're wrong. The road isn't haunted. Something uses the road. Something that chooses couples, because couples scream louder. The night it chose us, my wife didn't just scream. She begged me to let her die instead of letting that thing near her again. My name is Daniel Harris, 34, living in Wakefield, UK. My wife Ella and I had been married for 3 years when this happened. We were returning from a dinner gathering at my cousin's farmhouse near Ilkley Moor, a place already known for strange lights and disappearances. We left late, around 1:15 a.m., because it started raining heavily. By the time we reached A405, the road was completely empty. Just darkness on both sides and dense trees leaning inward like bent silhouettes. Ella kept rubbing her arms. It's freezing in here, but the heater was on. That was the first sign something was wrong. The first encounter, the standing shadow. We had barely driven 10 minutes when Ella stiffened and looked into the rearview mirror. "Dan, slow down," she whispered. I checked the mirror. A tall, pitch-black figure was standing in the middle of the road, dead still, as if waiting for us. No face, no clothes, just a human-shaped void. I hit the brake, tires screeching against wet asphalt. When the car stopped, the figure was suddenly gone. Not walked away, not moved, just erased. Ella grabbed my hand. Her fingers were ice cold. "Dan, I don't want to be on this road." I tried calming her, but deep down, my skin was crawling. The dead signal. I took out my phone to call my cousin. No signal, not even an emergency bar. Ella's was also dead. We continued driving. The road felt narrower, darker, as if the trees were inching closer. Then our headlights flickered. Just once. But it was enough to see something horrifying. For half a second, the road ahead had dozens of human shapes standing on both sides of the trees, thin, motionless. When the lights stabilized, they were gone. Ella sucked in a sharp breath. "Dan, tell me you saw that." I'm not sure." I lied. "Don't lie to me," she shouted, voice trembling. "They were watching us." The woman in the gown. It began to rain harder. The wipers struggled against the thick, muddy drops. Suddenly ella gasped. "Stop! Stop! Someone's there." A pale woman stood on the road, wearing a torn old nightgown, head bent down, hair covering her face. She wasn't walking. She was hovering. I swerved the car desperately and nearly hit a tree. Ella covered her mouth, sobbing uncontrollably. I whispered, "No, no, 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 no." Because as I blinked, the woman was gone. The radio message. Before we could process anything, our silent radio turned on by itself. Not music, not voices. Screeching static so loud it vibrated the dashboard. Then, beneath the static, a faint child's voice layered over it. "Turn around." Ella screamed. "No, don't listen. Just drive." But the voice came again, louder. "Turn around." The engine began jerking violently, lights dimming, steering wheel shaking in my hands. And then, she appeared at Ella's window. 3 slow, heavy knocks. Top, top, top. Ella's breathing stopped. We both turned our heads. The same woman. Face pressed against the glass. Jaw hanging down, eyes pitch black, neck twisted. Her breath fogged the window. Ella screamed and covered her face. I froze, my hands numb on the wheel. The woman smiled, impossibly wide, her teeth long, needle-like. Then her voice echoed inside the car, even though her lips didn't move. "I need one of you." Ella began shaking violently. The attempt? She tried to pull my wife out. The woman's hand slowly lifted, her fingers bending in unnatural angles, and placed her palm on the window. The glass began to crack under her touch. Not from pressure, from cold. A white frost spread from her hand outward like spiderwebs. Ella whispered, "Dan, she's trying to get in." I tried starting the engine. It didn't respond. Lights flickered. Radio screamed. Ella grabbed my arm. "No, Dan, she's looking at me. She wants me." The woman leaned closer, her face almost melting against the glass. She whispered, "Come out." Ella's body jerked violently as if something invisible had grabbed her. Her seatbelt tightened on its own, digging into her stomach. Ella cried, "Dan, she's pulling me." I grabbed her waist, trying to hold her. The car filled with a rotten smell, earthy and cold. The woman hissed. The engine suddenly coughed, then roared alive. I floored the accelerator. The woman screamed, an inhuman, multi-layered shriek, as we sped away. The second encounter, she teleported. I hit 50, 60, 70 miles per hour. But then Ella whispered in pure terror, "Dan? Dan, she's in front of the car." The woman appeared, floating backwards, facing us as we sped toward her. She hovered inches above the road, hair whipping around like it was underwater. Her mouth stretched open wider until it tore. I shut my eyes and drove through her. The car shook violently, like we had driven through a cold wave. The smell of rot flooded the air. Ella fantid. Reaching home. We reached home around 3:07 a.m. I carried Ella inside. She regained consciousness and immediately broke down crying. She kept repeating only one sentence. She grabbed my ankle. She tried to pull me out. She almost had me. The aftermath. For the next week, the car windows remained scratched as if carved by claws. The frost mark where her hand touched remained visible even after washing. Ella developed a bruise around her ankle shaped like fingers. Our radio kept turning on at 2:43 a.m. every night. But the worst part? The final occurrence. She found our house. 3 nights later, I woke up to Ella screaming. I ran to the living room. She was standing at the window, pointing outside. Her voice was shaking, barely forming words. "Dan." She followed us home. I looked. Across the street, the same woman, standing perfectly still, head tilted, watching us. The streetlights flickered around her. Then she slowly raised one hand and pointed directly at Ella. "Ella collapsed," sobbing, whispering, "She's not done." And I know she's right, because every night since then, we hear 3 slow knocks on our window. Top, top, top. People in the UK disappear for hundreds of reasons. But when someone disappears inside their own house, and the walls swallow them in plain sight, no one believes it, except me, because I didn't just see it. The house tried doing the same thing to me. This isn't about ghosts. This isn't imagination. This isn't maybe something happened. I watched my neighbor get dragged inside her hallway wall, and 1 week later, the same bulging shape appeared inside the wall of my new flat. And the most disturbing part? The voice inside the wall still calls my name every night at 2:47 a.m. Not a whisper, not a hallucination. A real voice, deep and wet, saying, "Come home." I moved to Weatherbridge, North Yorkshire, at the start of November. My house was the 3rd in a short row of Victorian terrace homes. Cheap rent, slightly slanted floors, thin walls, nothing unusual for old UK housing. My neighbor, Mrs. Devon, lived in the house attached to mine. A thin woman, gray hair tied back, pale skin, and tired eyes that looked permanently wide, as if she hadn't slept in years. She was always awake, no matter the hour, midnight, 3 a.m., 5 a.m. Her kitchen light glowed through her thin curtains. I didn't think much of it. People have insomnia. Old houses make noises. I was busy settling in. But the house wasn't old noisy house normal. It was alive in ways no building should be. On my 3rd night, I heard a soft tapping in my hallway. Not random tapping, deliberate, rhythmic, like this. Top, 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 top. I thought it was pipes expanding. Old radiator. Maybe a neighbor hammering something. But the tapping always came at 2:47 a.m. Exactly. The next 2 nights, the tapping grew louder and turned into dragging. A heavy object scraping across wood. I checked every room. Empty. I checked under the bed. Nothing. I checked outside in the street. Silent. The dragging only existed inside my hallway. But it got worse. By the 7th day, the dragging was accompanied by breathing. A slow, wet inhale, followed by a heavy exhale, coming from inside the wall. No hiding, no metaphor. I pressed my ear to the wall and heard a living thing breathing inside it, as real as a person breathing next to your ear. On the 8th day, Mrs. Devon knocked on my door. She stood trembling, holding her wrist like it hurt. "Have you heard it yet?" she asked. Her voice was so thin it barely existed. I asked what she meant. She pointed to my hallway behind me and whispered, "The dragging." "How do you know?" I asked. "Because I've lived beside it," she said. "It crawls through the whole terrace block every night. It started in my house. Now it's reaching yours." I asked her what it was, but she shook her head. "You'll understand soon," she said. "And when you do, don't answer it when it calls your name." Then she added something that chilled me. "It doesn't live in the house. The house lives in it." 2 nights later, she called me at 3:12 a.m. Her voice was shaking violently. "It's moving fast, faster than usual. Please don't come over." Then I heard the dragging sound behind her voice. Scrape, 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 but heavier, wetter, louder than anything I'd heard in my house. Then she screamed. Not a human scream. A tortured, hopeless, animal-level scream of someone seeing something she knew she couldn't escape. Then the line went dead. I ran outside barefoot and crossed into her house. Her front door hung open. The cold inside hit me instantly, far colder than the outside November air. My breath fogged like I was standing inside a freezer. Her slippers were still warm. Her kettle was on. Her favorite mug was on the counter. She had been there only moments earlier. Then I saw the scratches. Her hallway walls were covered in deep, straight, clean scratches, as if something with long, rigid fingers had dug through the wallpaper. Some scratches went all the way down to the wooden lath behind the plaster. Then I saw movement, real movement, nothing subtle. The wall physically bulged outward, a human-sized shape pushing from inside the wall. I saw the curve of a spine, the shape of a shoulder, an elbow bending, a knee joint dragging. It moved behind the wall like a large body crawling sideways, fighting the space inside the wall. The bulge slowly slid toward her bedroom door. Then, the wall split. A deep vertical tear opened as if invisible hands were ripping it from inside. Behind the rip was not a brick cavity. It was a dark, soil-filled tunnel, like a grave dug behind the wall. Something dropped out of the hole. Her phone, still recording. The audio was clear. Her screaming, something heavy dragging, something big breathing, and a deep voice saying, "Stay. You belong to the walls now." Then the recording ended, and the wall closed itself. Smooth, silent, perfect, like nothing had happened. She was gone. When police came, they searched for 5 minutes and stopped. One officer watched her CCTV. The footage showed her hallway wall opening and pulling her in like a mouth closing. His face went white. He watched it 3 times. Then he deleted it. "This is a malfunction," he said. "You didn't see anything. No report will be filed." He left the house trembling. They never investigated again. The night after she disappeared, the dragging returned in my house, but much louder. The wall behind my bed shook lightly, as if something pressed its full weight against it. At 2:47 a.m., I heard a deep inhale from inside the wall. followed by, "Are you awake?" A clear voice, "No confusión. No imaginación." I sprinted from the bedroom and slept on the sofa. But the dragging followed me into the living room walls. Every night after that, the wall would show a visible bulge, like a large human form curling inside it, moving slowly, dragging itself to different rooms. And every night, the voice spoke clearer. Once it said, "Don't move. I'm almost there." Another time, "Come to the wall." And worse, "I know where you'll run." My last night in that house was the worst experience of my life. At exactly 2:47 a.m., the bulge appeared in my living room wall. This time larger, clearer, more defined. I could see a long arm pressed outward, fingers stretching under the plaster, the outline of a head turning, something pushing its ribs outward against the wall. It wasn't hiding. It was revealing itself fully. The shape moved toward the hallway, dragging the plaster with it. The wall groaned and cracked as the shape forced its way inside the structure. When the shape reached the hallway, it paused, and then the wall slowly started to split, a new tear forming, long and vertical. The same rip I saw in my neighbor's house. The same thing that swallowed her. I grabbed my suitcase and sprinted out the front door. I didn't stop running until I reached the main road. I didn't look back. A week after moving to a new flat, I slept peacefully for the first time, until the 7th night. At 2:47 a.m., my phone buzzed with a voicemail. Played it. The dragging sound. The same one. Loud. Bit. Beautifully recognizable. Then the voice said, "You moved, but walls exist everywhere." I froze. At that exact moment, the wall in my new flat made a soft bump, a small bulge pushing outward for 1 second, then pulling back in, like something testing the space. Then the voice whispered again, right behind the plaster, "I found you." And the bulge started moving toward my bedroom.